Hey there, my friends. Welcome back to the show. My name is Deanna Yates, and you are listening to episode 262 of the Wannabe Clutter-Free podcast. It is summer break, and because my daughter is home and we're sharing the house with everyone, I am recording from my bedroom. So if you are on YouTube, that's where you are seeing me. It's a little bit of a different background. But I am really excited to chat with you today. We are diving into something that affects everything, and it is your inner world. It's your thoughts, your mental space, your sense of peace, because when our homes are cluttered, our minds are cluttered too. And this episode is part of my ongoing series based on the Clutter F.R.E.E.D.O.M method. And we are still in that first F, which is find your number. That's that first stage. And so if you are new around here, it just means that we are looking at the 10 different areas of your life to help you figure out where clutter is weighing you down the most so that you can focus your energy and make real progress quickly before expanding out to the other 10 areas. So today's focus is mental health. Whether it is decision fatigue, visual overwhelm, or the guilt we feel from those unfinished projects or all the stuff that we've spent money on, clutter affects how we feel. And if you're like most of the women who listen to this show, you are likely a high-achieving mom. You already have so much on your plate, and we deserve to feel calm and capable in our own homes. And I'm going to walk you through why less stuff really does equal less stress, how to figure out where you are on the mental clutter scale, and of course, what steps you can take right now that make a big difference in your day-to-day life so that we can actually start to take back control and feel good. That's the whole point of this, right? All right, so before we jump in though, I just want to say a big thank you to you for joining me today. If you enjoy this episode, be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button so you don't miss any of the conversations we have coming up, including my episode next week with Ashley Gadd. So it's all about creativity and motherhood and making space in your life for what matters most. It's a good one. You're not going to want to miss it. And as always, if you have any questions about decluttering, organizing, or living a better life with less, well, connect with me on Instagram. I am at Wannabe Clutter Free over there, or I do have a private Facebook group, and it's the Wannabe Minimalist groups. You can search for us over on Facebook and join us there. And then, of course, show notes for today can be found at wannabeclutterfree.com/262. All right, let's get into it. So I want to start by acknowledging something that we don't talk about nearly enough. And it's that clutter isn't just a mess problem, right? It's not just the stuff around us. It's a mental health problem. If you have ever walked into your kitchen, seen the pile of dishes, and immediately felt that your shoulders tightened up, right? Whew. Or you saw an open closet and you suddenly wanted to scream because you just felt the weight of all of that clutter, then you understand. You felt this before. You might not have understood what was happening, but science is there to back this up. Because clutter increases our cortisol levels, and that is our stress hormone. And it can actually make it harder to focus, to sleep, to process emotions, to be the people that we want to be and show up as our true authentic selves in this life. And so for those of us that are already juggling so much, right? We've got work, motherhood, relationships, the 47 tabs that always seem to be open in our brain, right? All these things that are going on, the mental to-do list, everything, checking it all off, trying to make sure everyone is where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there. Well, then you know that clutter is just one more thing screaming for your attention. And like I said, if you're a mom, this feeling is even heavier because it's not just the mess. It's the shame that comes with it. You're used to figuring things out. You're used to being capable, getting things done, so that when your home feels out of control or cluttered, that narrative becomes, what's wrong with me? I should be able to handle this. Why can't I do this? But here's the truth. Being successful in your career, in your parenting, or your life doesn't mean that you are immune to overwhelm, right? It means you're carrying a lot, and it means that there's a lot of pressure to keep it all together. And on top of keeping it all tidy. And this is a recipe for anxiety, burnout, overwhelm, depression, all those things that we are just like, I'm throwing in the towel and I am done and I don't know what to do about it. Because your brain is constantly scanning your environment. When there is visual noise everywhere, your brain doesn't get a break. It's like trying to read a book and someone's yelling at you from across the room, right? It's impossible to concentrate on this book you have in front of you. And your kids are like screaming at you because they need your attention, right? So that is what it is like when your home and your environment is filled and packed to the brim with all of this physical clutter, it seeps into your mental overwhelm too. Okay. And so that's why we want to talk about it, because we often minimize it. We think we should be able to deal with it all. We blame ourselves instead of the systems or the stuff, right? So I want to give you an example from my life and see if you can relate. A while back, I bought a beautiful planner. It had goal setting pages, time blocking sections, habit trackers, the whole thing. I was so excited, thinking that this was the tool that was finally going to help me feel on top of everything. But after a few weeks of not using it, I'd see it sitting on my desk unopened, and I'd feel this wave of guilt, like I was failing at being organized. Instead of being useful, it became a daily reminder that I wasn't doing enough or I wasn't using the tools as I should be using them. That's the shame spiral. I was able to reframe it, use the parts of the planner that are working for me so that I can keep myself organized, and let go of the parts that just didn't work with my brain. It is okay to use tools to 60% if they work for you. You don't have to do them to 100%, which was really hard for me as a type A, straight A student to not do everything to the best, right? But if it was working for me, then why did I need to try to strive for more and feel guilty when parts weren't working for me? So I've reframed it, used the parts that work, and now I do get to use that beautiful planner, but I was able to let go of the bits and pieces that I didn't need. Okay? So we buy things with good intentions, right? We want to be more productive, more organized, more together. But when we don't or can't follow through, that stuff can start whispering to us saying, see, you're still not doing it right. And that kind of mental clutter takes up way more space than we realize and really can throw our lives out of whack. So how do we figure out what's actually going on in our minds, and how can we use our home to help us, right? Well, that's where the Find Your Number comes in, right? It's the first step in that Clutter Freedom framework method, and it's all about identifying the areas in your life that feel most cluttered or where clutter is affecting you the most so that you can stop spinning your wheels and start gaining traction. All right, and so today I want you to specifically to think about your inner world, your mental and emotional load. So I want you to ask yourself a few questions. On a scale from 1 to 10, how mentally calm do I feel right now? With 1 being not calm at all and 10 being totally zen. So if you're not sure, that's the one question I want you to answer. But if you're not sure, here are a few more questions you can ask to kind of get to the heart of the matter, right? 1, are your thoughts racing all the time? 2, do you struggle to concentrate or make decisions? 3, are you forgetting things or snapping at the people you love? Those are questions that'll help you see like, oh, maybe I'm closer to a 1 or a 2 on this scale. And if that's you, please know that I see you. It's okay. I have been there. You are not broken. I still sometimes get overwhelmed in my life, and I have to just take a pause because sometimes that just means I've been living too much without intention. And so then I'm like, ooh, okay, time to snap out of it. Let's get back into it, right? Because we tend to think of clutter as just the stuff we can see. The piles of paper, the overflowing closets, the toy explosion in the living room. But mental clutter is just as real and just as overwhelming. And it's the constant swirl of these thoughts running in the background, those unmade decisions, the unfinished tasks, the forgotten appointments, and the mental to-do list that you keep rewriting in your head at 2 a.m. when you can't get back to sleep. So just like physical clutter crowds your space, mental clutter is going to cloud your brain. And when there's no clear system to sort or release those thoughts, it becomes exhausting. You feel foggy, irritable, scattered. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your mind is just trying to carry too much. And the crazy part is, and this is where this podcast comes in, is that the physical clutter is contributing to your mental clutter way more than you think it is. So I love this quote from Gretchen Rubin in her book, Outer Order, Inner Calm, Declutter and Organize to Make More Room for Happiness. And she says, quote, getting in control of our possessions makes us feel more in control of our fates. If this is an illusion, it's a helpful illusion, and it's a more pleasant way to live, end quote. And isn't that the truth? Like that when our homes and our environments feel out of control, we do too, right? So by taking steps to take back that control of our kitchen, our entryway, our bedrooms, our entire home, we can show ourselves that we can take back control of our lives. And by the way, a little plug here, I am super excited because I am interviewing Gretchen next month. So let me know if there's anything you want me to ask her before we do that. So, all right, I'm excited about it. And this clutter in your house, it's not just the stuff in your house, it's the stuff in your mind, and we can clear it one step at a time. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I want you first to take a moment of self-reflection and think about what's adding to your mental load right now. Are there incomplete tasks that are just overwhelming you and you feel shame about not getting them done? Is there visual clutter all over your home and so your mind can't rest because there's just stuff everywhere? Are there too many open tasks on your mental to-do list that you just keep running through them? Is there emotional clutter? Are you carrying a lot of guilt or comparison or perfectionism? These are the things that will add up and lead to your overwhelm. And so we're going to work on clearing that mental clutter with some physical action, okay? Because if we have determined that your environment affects your mental health, well, one of the fastest ways to calm that chaos in your mind is to clear the space around you. Plus, that physical activity will actually help lower that stress cortisol hormone, and it just makes your body think like, okay, I'm doing something, I've done it, I'm taking control, right? We just talked about taking back control, and even if that creates a bit of an illusion in our life of control, that's fine. It at least gets us moving in the right direction. So you do not have to declutter your whole house this weekend. And in fact, I'm going to actually ask you to not do that because that is so overwhelming. Instead, I want you to pick one small spot. Maybe it's your kitchen counter or a corner of your kitchen counter. Maybe it's a nightstand. Maybe it's your bathroom counter. Maybe it's even your car, like getting the stuff out of your car. We're here in summer and we're running our kids all over to different activities. And, we're in and out of our cars so much more this time of year, at least I am, that clearing your car might be a great place to start. But I want you to set the timer for 10 minutes. And within those 10 minutes, I want you to remove the things that don't belong. I want you to wipe down the space or, clean it in some capacity. And then I want you to breathe. I want you to put back only the things that you need in that space and take a moment and see how you feel. How does it make you feel now that you're in that space? And here's even better if you remove yourself from that space and then walk back into that space, right? So go take all the things that belong somewhere else, go put them away, and then come back in that space and see how you feel. Like once you remove yourself physically from it and come back into it, you can actually see the difference so much more than just finishing up the task, okay? It does work, I promise. And if that doesn't work, take the before and after picture. Okay, that really helps. So if you're thinking like 10 minutes isn't going to do much, take a before picture. We all have phones these days. It's so easy. You can delete the picture after. So just take a quick before picture and then do your 10 minutes, leave, come back in, take your after picture and compare them. I think you'll be surprised at what actually happened. So that sense of peace that you're getting, it isn't just from the clean surface. It's actually because you're giving your brain a break. You're showing your nervous system that it is safe, that you are in some control, right? That you are capable of creating calm in your life. So if that worked well for you, the next thing I want you to do is to create a recurring 10-minute appointment with yourself to declutter one small area a day. After a week, see how you feel. I promise at this point, it will start to feel so good that that habit's going to stick. It's going to begin to stick. And then finally, I want you to reduce your visual clutter in order to reduce your internal stress, right? So you don't need to make everything perfect, but putting things away will help tremendously. So pair this with your 10-minute decluttering session, right? So where the goal should be to clear the surfaces first, because those clear surfaces they do equal clearer thinking and less mental load. So instead of cleaning out underneath your bed, which is an area you don't see very much, or even the linen closet, pick places that are visual, that you see a lot, that are going to make an impact as you walk into your home. That's where you need to start. And then we can dig deeper and get into these, more hidden spaces. Those are pretty easy to declutter sometimes because often you've just forgotten what's in there, but it's just really helpful if we're starting with the mental, if that's what our real goal is, to help with our mental load and clutter, then let's get rid of the visual clutter first. All right? Okay, so Since we've tackled this physical part, what do we do with the thoughts that are spinning in your head? Well, I want to give you a few practices that I actually use and I share with my clients to help clear the mental clutter. So, one of my favorite ways to calm my thoughts is with a mind sweep, also known as a brain dump. And I like to do mine at the end of the day so that I can tell myself, whew, okay, you're all right. I know what's floating around in my brain. I can shut down. I can get a good night's sleep. And this way I can start quickly the next morning, right? I'm like off to the races first thing because I have my list of things that need to get done. Now, this approach does not work for my husband. The giant list at night causes him to lose sleep. So for him, it's best to do his mind sweeps in the morning. So how does it work, right? What is a mind sweep? Well, all you do is you just write down everything that's swirling in your head. There's no filter, you just get it out. And this clears the space and helps you sleep better. Well, it helps me sleep better. I can focus better. I can stop feeling like I'm forgetting about something. I know, okay, you've already put it down. It can live here and you can take care of it. And you no longer have to keep remembering it because you've already taken care of writing it down. And then once you have that list that was floating around in your brain, you can actually cross off the things that don't matter because oftentimes you just have things that are floating around in there, but you don't actually need to do them. Or it's something that you can write on your calendar for next month or the month after. So it's not something you have to do right now, but you can just say, okay, remember to do this at a later date. And that is so helpful. And then you can prioritize those things that actually need to get done and get them done. But what happens to all those ideas that like pop up while you're actually trying to do something else, right? Like you did your mind sweep at night, you're going about your day, and then boom, something pops into your mind. Well, that's where this idea of a parking lot list comes in. And you simply create a note, like in your notes app on your phone or a text edit or Google Keep or something like that. You just, wherever you want to keep these running thoughts, you can call them the parking lot. And so whenever a task or an idea or a reminder pops up, something in your head, you can just jot it down, you can park it there, and you can come back to it later. It doesn't have to derail your whole day, and it doesn't have to stress you out. Just, oh, right, of course, jot it down. Great, I'll get back to that later. And then when you're doing your mind sweeps, you can just add that in, reference back to your parking lot list, and then make sure that those tasks are getting done. And then the third thing, finally, I want you to name your stressor. So when your anxiety spikes or when you get stressed out, I want you to take a breath and ask yourself, what exactly is bothering me right now? Naming it takes away its power. And often it's a physical thing that you can change, like a pile of mail, a cluttered inbox, an overloaded schedule. Maybe it's just a different way that you act. Like this last weekend, not this last weekend, but the weekend before, because it was just Father's Day this last weekend. But the weekend before, I was really stressed out. Both my family members, my husband and my daughter, they're homebodies. They do not need to leave the house as often as I do. If I'm in the house for more than one day without like going somewhere physically, and we all work from home, so it's quite often that I have to physically like make myself go do something. I get stressed out and it just makes me ugh, I hate it. I hate the feeling of it. But my family doesn't feel that way. And so naming that, saying, hey, I got to leave the house, guys, then everybody's on the same page and everyone's cool with it. And it's perfectly fine. But it's just one of those things that I had to learn about myself and my family. And now that we all know it, it works a little bit better. So name your stressor. And once you name it, it really deflates that balloon. And it just makes it like, oh, okay, I can do something about this. I don't need to be freaked out about it. I don't need to be overwhelmed. I don't need to be angry about it. I just need to do something about it. Okay? And so just like that, we've gone ahead and we've turned decluttering your physical and mental space from a burden into a tool for transformation with clearing your physical and then those 3 tips for clearing your mental clutter. All right. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this thought. Decluttering isn't about being Pinterest perfect, okay? It's not. It's not about having the magazine-worthy spread in your house. It's about protecting your peace. It's about letting go of the things you don't need so that you can live the life that you want to be living. When you declutter, you are not just creating space in your home, you are creating room in your life for rest, clarity, joy, connection, whatever it is that lights you up, whatever it is that you want to be doing. You are giving your future self a gift. You're saying you matter. You don't have to carry it all. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to have it all. You matter. Okay? So the next time you are tempted to just shove something away in a drawer or put off clearing a space, I want you to remember that you are not just cleaning, you're not just tidying, you are calming your nervous system. You are caring for your mind. You are reclaiming your energy. You are making space for you and your family, of course. So remember this mantra: I don't need a perfect house. I need a house that supports me and my family. Again, I don't need a perfect house. I need a house that supports me and my family. All right, so I hope this episode gave you permission to stop brushing aside how clutter makes you feel, because your mental health isn't a bonus. It's the foundation. And when your environment is chaotic, your mind has to work twice as hard to find peace. So if your brain feels a little foggy or fried lately, take that as a signal, not a flaw. You are not doing anything wrong. You're just carrying too much, and that might be physically, emotionally, mentally, and I'm here to help you lighten the load one decision at a time. So I'd love to know now, though, what you thought of this episode. What resonated? What's your mental clutter number today? And what's one step you can take to bring it up, to raise that number and make sure that you are living a life that actually makes you happy? All right, send me a DM. I'm at Wannabe Clutter Free on Instagram, or pop into our private Facebook group, the Wannabe Minimalist Family Group, and join in the conversation there. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, if this episode helped you, please consider leaving a rating or a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps more overwhelmed moms find their way here, and that means the world to me, so that we can all start living the lives that we want to be living. All right, don't forget, you can get the full show notes at wannabeclutterfree.com/262. And next week, I'm chatting with Ashley Gadd, writer, photographer, and founder of Coffee and Crumbs. We're talking about creativity, motherhood, and how to make space mentally and physically for what fills you up. So you won't want to miss it, right? We just learned how to clear out some mental clutter, and maybe that made space for some creativity in your life. And if that has felt like it's been missing, then come check it out next week. You're going to love that episode. All right, until next time, take care, keep things simple, be open to letting go of more. Start to clear that physical clutter so that you can free up your mental space. All right, remember, I believe in you. I know you can do it. I'm Deanna Yates, and you've been listening to Wannabe Clutter Free. I'll see you next week. Cheers.